Ooh-wee. Good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is cold out. It is literally about 26 degrees. We got the wind blowing, so we got wind chills out here. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if I see ice on top of the pond tonight. I got faked out last week when it was warm and thought, okay, spring is here. The cherry blossoms were starting to bloom in D.C. And now all of a sudden it feels like we're knee deep in the middle of winter. Hell, I got a fire going at the fireplace in the house. Anyway, man, oh man, oh man. Jerry Jones was out today. Oh my goodness, Jerry Jones was out. He was talking like crazy. And he said that when it came to this lawsuit that's going to court on Thursday, that, this is a private matter, And in fact, you'll remember some of the talking heads were like, everybody's known about this situation. And this is one of those things that, hey, he deserves private. Well, private doesn't matter if you're not, I guess, an owner. If you're an owner, privacy is good for you. Everybody else, your laundry's out there. But anyway, be that as it may, Jerry Jones has filed an injunction to stop this thing, to have this thing thrown out, because it's an alleged extortion plan. I was going through and reading all of this, and it's a lot, because this Jerry Jones basically, I'm going to just try and see if I can get it right, because I don't even think, don't quote me on any of it, because it's all crazy. So Charlotte Jones is having a divorce from her husband, who is an attorney, who has a lot of alleged paperwork and court papers and so on that he is deemed not to destroy. So he's involved in it. And apparently there's all kinds of different pieces to this that's being alleged, and different extortion plots. And basically, Jerry allegedly was supposed to be given a timetable, and it doesn't specify how much money was in here, or else they would go public with all this stuff. It sounds like a mess. And here's my thing. I know everybody's telling me, Mark, you got the pipe dream, the crack pipe dream. And maybe it is, but this thing is about to get ugly. When you start talking about Jerry Jones' daughter, which is, let's be clear here. I believe Jerry Jones' daughter, Charlotte, is the favorite. You got that situation with the divorce for her, and now this other child that's trying to come in here. If there's extortion and everything else, Jerry Jones don't like the negative publicity. And it also involved the reason why the $2.4 million settlement came out is all because of all this stuff being intertwined. So this whole thing is a big pooch screw, cross-tying this, that, and the other. So who knows if this thing does get in court, what might come out. And if stuff is coming out, Jerry Jones ain't going to want it to be out. You don't. You honestly don't. So, and if it is out, you need a distraction. See, understand, typically when you have bad news in politics or in the NFL and things, you try to announce that like late Friday night, because magazines and stuff, they've already done their stuff for the week. It's the weekend. It gets buried. It gets lost. That's how you spin out the bad news. You let it happen on a Friday night. Or you have something bigger happen. You want to announce the bad news when something else is already exploding. See, like today would be been a good day if you had bad news, because everything was dominated by, wow, that wind is kicking that flame. It's just like laying flat. But everything has been about Chris Rock and Will Smith and the slap heard around the world. It's been all the memes and stuff of, Batman and everything else, or, born in West Philadelphia, born and raised, and everything else, and the memes. Today's the day to have your bad news, because it'll get lost. And see, for Cowboy fans, if you were able to sign Bobby Wagner, the day that this thing goes to court, or while this is in court, you've now got everybody mesmerized on the Dallas Cowboys signed Bobby Wagner. The Dallas Cowboys, major move in free agent. Dallas Cowboys all in for the 2022 season. The Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl favorite. Nobody gonna care about, whether or not Jerry Jones got one kid, Hell, I was sitting here, we were talking about Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman got is it 29 kids? 29 kids, okay? Anybody care about how many kids he's got with 16 baby mamas? So who care about Jerry Jones having another one? You mean it's only one out of wedlock? That's it? Get back to me when it's 29. Just sign Bobby Wagner. Appease the masses. Do that. But you know what's crazy? I tell you what's crazy. I trolled the Washington Commanders this morning. I saw, here's what's crazy. Okay, the Buffalo Bills, they're going to be getting a new stadium to stay in Buffalo and stuff. It's been rumored for years that, Canada wanted to get them, and they've talked about moving because it's a small market. And of course, they want the new stadium, the luxury boxes, and all that revenue. The Washington football team has needed a new stadium since they got FedEx Field in 1995. It's the worst stadium out there. It's literally falling apart. Seriously. If you go to a game at FedEx, make sure you have your tetanus shot. I'm telling you, literally, the railings almost fell on Jalen Hurts. Hurts almost got hurt in Washington. Not by the players, but by the stadium. And so now, here's what's crazy. You have one of the biggest businesses in the world in entertainment, the NFL. 32 rich-ass owners that have more money than some countries do, that just got a huge influx of money from gambling, from a new television contract and stuff. But here it is, the Washington Commanders, a team that has sucked for so long, a team that is scandal-ridden, and they have Maryland and Virginia literally bending over backwards to try and get a new stadium built for them. People who don't have money, taxes will go to these guys. So Virginia has a couple of sites that they want to do. Okay? Prince William County and Loudoun County over by the airport. Maryland came up with an idea of redoing where FedEx Field is, okay? FedEx Field, and create a whole city over there so they can make more money on hopefully other businesses making money and make the tax revenue. Because what happens is when they help pay for all of the stadium and everything else, they also give them tax-free for 20 years and stuff. Yeah, bet you didn't know that. So they've already proposed one site there in Maryland. Now, they are proposing another site. There is, Cove Point Park, which is over by the MGM, right off of the Beltway, and it's a park, public park, run by the Park Service. Expensive land, but they'll probably give it to the Washington football team to turn it into the new stadium, because it's also close to MGM. But you know what it's also close to? And I almost thought it was funny because in the online and everything else, they're talking about, the Washington football team, they should be looking at this site because of the sight lines, of course. You can see National Airport, the skyline in D.C. and everything else, right? Close to National Harbor and all that. But you know what I ended up saying over there? I said, yeah. And it's the perfect place for the Washington Commanders, because it's downwind from Blue Plains. And if you don't know what Blue Plains is, go down 295 during the summertime in the middle of the day. It's a waste sewage treatment plant. And the stadium would be downwind from that, which is perfect because I said in the tweet, that's perfect because when it stinks, when they stink up the joint, you can just blame it on Blue Plains. Because the Washington, you see what I did there, right? Because the Washington football team, they stink. I'm sorry, the Washington Commanders away, they stink. They stink. They smell like some shit. Anyway, my point being is this. PG County, it's not a rich county. That's tax dollars. That's the people who live in those states, in those counties, that are paying for the stadium for these billionaires that have more money, that they throw away more money in a weekend than most people who are paying for the stadium will make in a year. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. And maybe we're fans are crazy too. Because the reason why these guys have all of this money and live the lifestyle that they do, having a couple of helicopters and 300-foot long yachts and everything else, is because of us, the fans. And the reality is, they don't give a rat's ass about us or what we think. And that's sad. There's nothing worse than being taken for granted. But hey, you only let people do to you what you let people do to you. We've been letting them do it forever. And I'm sure we'll continue to let them do it to us forever. But, mark my words, the diversion that the Joneses need right now is Bobby Wagner. How Bobby Wagner can save Jerry Jones. I hope y'all had a great Monday. I know that sounds crazy. It's cold as ice. We made it through another weekend without football, and that brings us another weekend closer to the NFL season. And I appreciate y'all. We are over $3,000 raised on the GoFundMe. I can't believe it. Shout out to you guys. It's going to be great this weekend to go ahead, see Dak Prescott, get that autograph, and do a good thing for charity. Now, make sure you guys, speaking of charity, cancer, and mental health, make sure you guys tell somebody you love that you love them tonight, because you might not get the chance to later. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, God willing. Peace.